Here are 4 related statistics. This is the number of long-term rentals available across Australia right now. This one is the number of new migrants coming into the country every day. This number is the number of short-term holiday rentals available across Australia, according to University of Queensland researcher Thomas Sigler. Mostly on Airbnb, and it's about 6 times the number of long-term rentals. And this number is the median capital city increase in rent over the past 12 months. And it's triple the very high inflation rate. Oh, and there's one more statistic that's relevant to the story. It's the long-term decline in household size, which was turbocharged during the pandemic because group households were suddenly dangerous. But the real cause of the rental crisis is immigration, now running at levels that have never been seen before. It looks like net migration this year could be 400,000, more than 1,000 a day. There are 2 roughly equal categories: students and people who said they were coming for a holiday and then changed their mind and their visa. They mostly land in Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane, and on current numbers, they'll soak up the available accommodation in those 3 places in 1 month. Now, there's a lot of work and even more talk going into increasing the supply of housing, but that'll take years to result in actual buildings. Meanwhile, the demand for housing from immigration is happening right now because there are dire staff shortages everywhere. Well, that means, I'm sorry to say, that the rental crisis is not going to end in a hurry. It's simply a lot easier and quicker to get people than it is to build houses for them.
Sydney's sky-high rents are here to stay, with warnings tonight the crisis could actually get worse. The country's peak housing body is predicting Australia will be hundreds of thousands of homes short of what we need, with negotiations over a solution stalled.
In the belly of a submarine and at the heart of Australia's AUKUS commitment.
So it's pretty spacious, really, isn't it?
The Prime Minister touring the site that will be home for Australia's nuclear submarine projects in the future. But across the country, for Australians like Sam Thomas, homes are needed now.
At the moment, I'm choosing between my healthcare and my housing. I can't afford to see a doctor. I can't afford to see a psychologist.
The new State of the Nation's housing report warning of a perfect storm of high inflation, slowing supply and record low vacancies, with Australia forecast to fall 106,300 dwellings short of what we need by 2027. Tonight, as more Australians negotiate to work from home, more space is required, resulting in more people living alone and more houses and units needed. The report forecasting rents will stay high until at least 2025.
It's only going to get worse if someone doesn't take some really serious action and build.
We've seen dwindling home ownership rates, and I think everything needs to be on the table to bring that back so more Australians can own their own home.
Everything except the government's housing plan, opposed by the coalition and now stalled in the Senate.
We are absolutely in dire straits when it comes to housing in Australia.
With Jackie Lambie on board, the government still needs the Greens, but the next chance to pass a compromise won't come until next month when Parliament returns.
If that doesn't pass, the result's pretty clear. There'll be 30,000 less social and affordable housing units.
And legislation delayed is homes delayed.
Well, Sydney house prices could be on the way up again as our market rises faster than expected. Ahead of a Reserve Bank interest rate decision tomorrow, Nine's Eddie Meyer breaks down the latest data.
It's the tale of 2 Sydney-siders, buyers wanting house prices to keep falling and sellers hoping they'll start surging again. It seems the sellers are getting their wish. CoreLogic's latest monthly data shows house values jumped 1.4% in March, more than 4 times faster than in February, and the sharpest increase since October 2021, suggesting the downturn could well be coming to an end. Among the largest rises, houses in Blacktown went up 1.2% last month, up 1.7% in Baulkham Hills and the Hawkesbury, and also 1.7% in Parramatta. Most of this is being driven by short supply, increased immigration and some renters choosing to buy instead. Now, the Reserve Bank Board meets tomorrow, and after 10 straight interest rate rises, economists are split on whether or not it will hit the pause button this month. But given rates are expected to keep rising this year, how could that affect the market?
As long as we see further rate rises, that's going to lead to a limit in borrowing capacity, and it's probably going to reduce consumer sentiment, which is also closely correlated with sales. So that's the main reason we think there's potential for a re-acceleration of this downturn.
At $1,014,000, the median house price is still above pre-pandemic levels. CanStar estimates that to comfortably buy a house in Sydney without suffering mortgage stress, you need an income of almost $240,000. That's more than $145,000 short of what most people are earning pre-tax.